Fool's Day. All right. That's aesthetics.
Right there.
Yeah, right here's good. You can put it right here in front of me. Okay. That's all right. All right. That's enough of this foolishness. I'd like to call the meeting, the regular board meeting of the Goose Creek Consolidated Independent School District Board of Trustees to order at 6:04 p.m. Mr. Foxworth.
Okay, good evening, President Clem, school board members, and Dr. O'Brien. We will begin this opening ceremonies with a prayer led by Mrs. Tiffany Guy. Everyone, please rise.
Lord, thank you for getting everyone here safely tonight, and thank you for the many blessings you've provided all of us. Please guide our decision-making tonight as we make decisions that will impact the students in our district and the entire community. And finally, please get us all home safely after this meeting. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Guy. The United States Pledge will be led by E.F. Green Junior student Nikita Gupta, and the Texas Pledge will be led by Baraka Chirwisa.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. You may be seated. Okay, we want to recognize members of the E.F. Green Orchestra team as they played music in the foyer before the board meeting tonight. Students are under the direction of Mrs. Cindy McMurray, Orchestra Director. Thank you, E.F. Green Orchestra students and Mrs. McMurray. There's Mrs. McMurray back here. Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll now have a special...
Are there any Green Orchestra parents with us still? Okay. Well, please tell them we thank them for sharing their students with us tonight.
Absolutely.
And thank you for being here.
Okay, we'll now have a special Christmas performance from the E.F. Green Band. Students are under the direction of Band Director Sarah Hernandez, Assistant Band Director Kevin Cowart, and Principal Mr. Ernest Brooks. The following performing students are Daniela Martinez, Jada Conejo, Maya Green, Nikita Gupta, Hector Cruz, Rachel Lara, Baraka Chirwisa, and Aiden Buring.
Thank you to the directors and students for performing for us tonight. That was a real treat. Do we have parents of these students in the room? Please stand, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your students with us tonight. And I will overrule Dr. O'Brien. You do not have to stay until the end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you guys. Tell you what, for junior high band and orchestra, that was really, really, really good. So great job. They're under the direction of our fine arts director, Mr. Ray Levan. Thank y'all very much. Okay, at this time, Mr. Brian Moran from the City of Baytown will be presenting the SPAC Strategic Plan Action Committee Essay Contest winners.
And before he comes up, I'm going to try to keep our meeting legal. I always skip the declaration of quorum. So, Mrs. Guy, was our meeting properly posted?
Yes.
And do we have a quorum?
We do.
And for the record, we have 4 members present and 3 absent. 4 is a quorum. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President and members of the school board. Dr. O'Brien, my name is Brian Moran, Assistant City Manager here for the City of Baytown, and it is a pleasure to be here with you tonight as we recognize the achievements of 3 remarkable students. So currently, the City of Baytown is developing its new 5-year community-based strategic plan known as Imagine Baytown. Our Spac has engaged the community through a series of community workshops, focus group meetings, as well as a series of interviews. And another way that the Spac has reached and solicited feedback is by partnering with the school district to ensure the youth were also engaged in this process. With this process, the Spac sponsored an essay contest for the district's 8th grade English classes with the writing prompt, "I want to live in a city that," with each student explaining the qualities and characteristics of what they would like to see each campus see in their future city. The Spac was then provided the top 10 essays from each campus across the entire district, and they selected 3 winners that they believed represented the future and best vision and ideals. So please come to the front when you hear your name. Kathy Sin from E.F. Green Middle School, and then teacher is Austin Lindsay. Amaya Alanis, Highland Junior School, with teacher Julie Jackson. And Luis McGowan, Highlands Junior School, Suzanne Lucas. If you're also a parent of the students, could you please stand up as well? Thank you, Goose Creek, for being such an incredible partner with us.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Moran. Okay, now Mrs. Kendall David, Director of Community Engagement and Marketing, will recognize our Goose Creek Giants of the Month.
Good evening, President Clem, board members, Dr. O'Brien. Our district theme, of course, is Here We Grow Giants. Our district continues to see the giant work and giant accomplishments of our staff, students, and alumni. Here We Grow Giants is more than just a theme for our district. The dedication to grow giants drives our mission, developing the whole child, and what makes this theme so special to our community is the ability to honor giant individuals. As our legacy of growing giants continues, tonight we are here to highlight our Giants of the Month for this semester. Giants are nominated by our community and selected by our district action team, which consists of 15 teachers, paraprofessionals, administrators, and community members. First, I'd like to welcome Kenrika Miles to come up for photos. Houston Methodist Baytown Hospital sponsors this award. Their support is so important to us. Kenrika is the representative and also serves on our action team. Giants, if you are in attendance, please come up when your name is called and we'll hold applause to the end. In August, our staff member of the month was Brooke Rhodes, an incredible teacher at Clark Elementary who, while battling cancer, put her students first and always does. She taught her face-to-face students through a webcam in the third grade workroom because she could not bear to let her students fall behind. Her courage and passion is a huge inspiration. Angelina Bass is with us today, a 7th grader at Baytown Junior. Is described as having more grit and work ethic than many adults. Angelina has challenges, but her drive to succeed regardless of obstacles is admirable. She leads by example for her peers and at her campus. Beth Woods, our Giant alumnus, taught in Goose Creek for 30 years. She's been given numerous awards from Star Teacher to EdTech Star of the Month, Favorite Teacher Award. She was the Sterling Teacher of the Year twice, as well as the District Secondary Teacher of the Year. Her love and loyalty to Sterling, our district, and the community is impactful beyond measure. In September, we honored Rachel Washco, a 2nd grade teacher at Crockett Elementary. She was nominated by a parent for a simple act of kindness. A student was incredibly nervous to attend school after COVID, Ms. Washco handwrites each student a letter before school begins. This letter had a huge impact, providing the confidence for her students to return to school. She also served in the Coast Guard until 2015. Rebecca Curry, student at Impact Early College High School. Is in the Chick-fil-A Leadership Academy, Anchor Club, Vice President for Cedar Bayou 4-H, was on the Sterling swim team, and earned Grand Champion Rabbit at Baytown Youth Fair. Most importantly, she is extremely hardworking and is always willing to help her community. Jamari Gilbert, Robert E. Lee class of 2013, was our alumnus of the month. Jamari played football and basketball at Lee before continuing his football career at Incarnate Word. After returning to Baytown, he saw a need for his community for the promotion of health, wellness, and nutrition. Jamari and his wife opened Baytown Nutrition off of Texas Avenue in October of 2020. As a local business owner, he gives back through mentorship, donating proceeds to the Goose Creek athletic programs and campuses. He strives to be a positive example for young Black entrepreneurs in the area. In October, we honored Patricia Decote, our Assistant Director of Transportation and Giant Staff Member of the Month. She demonstrates excellence and perseverance. She recently received the Texas Association of Pupil Transportation Person of the Year Award, and that's a state organization and award. Felix Martinez, 8th grader at E.F. Green. Felix came to us from Cuba in 2020. Despite the challenges of learning a new language and way of life, Felix has excelled in the classroom and is an inspiration to all of his teachers and peers. And Giovanni Flores, our Giant alumnus and graduate of Lee High School, class of 2006. He started a dance crew where he built a small community of students who needed a safe and positive activity, and this team was even featured on MTV. He opened a barbershop on West Gulf Avenue in Baytown, Sick Cuts. His business was awarded #1 shop in the city, and he's recognized for giving free haircuts and mentorship to our students. Last but certainly not least, for November, we honored Clemente Alvarez, our Giant Staff Member of the Month. Clemente has worked for Goose Creek for nearly 20 years in the Facilities and Maintenance Department. He is an unsung hero. His extremely high standard of lawn care for this building is unmatched. He's humble and hardworking and an inspiration to us all. Danica Serino, our Giant student from Lee High School. She has a big crowd with her tonight. She's ranked #6 in her class and is the National Junior Honor Society President, Student Council Vice President, Varsity Volleyball Co-Captain, and STEM Ambassador. She's on the robotics team, an AVID, Interact Club, UIL, and the Chick-fil-A Leadership Academy. Most importantly, her high moral character and leadership qualities make her an outstanding choice for a Giant. Everyone say a prayer for her. She will find out this week if she's accepted into Rice. So, yeah. Joan Linares, our Giant alumnus, dedicated her life to Goose Creek. Through her 33-year career as a teacher, she was honored as Teacher of the Year, sponsored a math-a-thon to raise money for St. Jude, and impacted hundreds of students. She's the president of the only Jewish synagogue in Baytown and has worked tirelessly to be the voice of the Jewish community. She's raised 3 successful daughters, one of which is a principal at Alamo Elementary. Lastly, thank you. Lastly, again, I just want to say thank you to Houston Methodist Baytown Hospital. They generously support this award, serve on our action team, and support the Giants. Thank you, Kenrika Miles and Houston Methodist Baytown. Thank you to our Giants. Thank you for being an inspiration and making an impact on our community. Parents and family, thank you for supporting our Giants as well. If you'll stand so we can give you a round of applause. As always, we're looking for Giants and encourage our community to nominate on our website or at herewegogiants.com. Here you can find out more information on the incredible people here with us today, as well as Giants from previous years. Thank you and congratulations.
All right, thank you, Mr. Foxworth. I believe now we're going to move to item 4 on the agenda, which is a public hearing. Dr. O'Brien?
Yes, next we have public hearing for School First, Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, report for the fiscal year 2019-2020 from the Texas Education Agency. Ms. Leanne Dixon, Ms. Bridget Clark will be presenting.
Good evening, President Clem, Board of Trustees, Superintendent O'Brien, and guests. We will be presenting the School Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, known as the FIRST Report, which is based off of the 1920 fiscal year data. This report is presented yearly to the Board of Trustees as part of a public hearing. Adopted in 1999 in response to the Senate Bill 875 of the 76th Texas Legislature, School First is a statewide rating system implemented in 2003. There has been numerous changes to the Commissioner's Rule for Schools First, with the most recent changes being implemented with this report. The primary purpose of the FIRST rating is to ensure that Texas public schools are held accountable for the quality of their financial management practices and that they improve these practices. The first ratings also address future financial solvency of school districts, and it is also considered by TEA when assigning a final accreditation status. The objective of the first rating is to assess and evaluate the quality of financial management decisions and report those results to the general public. The 2021 available ratings have been slightly elevated. Meet standard achievement changed from 60 through 79 to 70 through 79, and substandard achievement from below 60 to 0 through 69. In addition to the point scale change, there are now pass or fail ceiling indicators. The state has also increased the indicators from 15 to 20. There are 5 critical indicators in which the district have to meet or automatically fail the first reporting. There are 6 ceiling indicators. Ceiling indicators set a maximum number of points the district can receive if the criteria is not met. Here is a summary of those indicators. You can see which indicators are pass or fail, and which indicators are ceiling indicators, and the highest possible points you can receive on those ceiling indicators. We'll go into the indicators, starting with the critical indicators. The first indicator, did the district file the annual audit report to TA on time? Yes, the report was received December 17th, 2020. Number 2, was an unmodified clean opinion issued by the auditors? Yes, an unmodified opinion was received. An unmodified opinion provides a high level of assurance given by an external auditor that the examination of financial statements did not reveal any actual or possible material weaknesses. Indicator number 3, has the district timely paid all bills and obligations, including financing arrangements? Yes, the district had not defaulted on any debt. Number 4, did the district make timely payments to various government agencies? Yes, the district fulfilled its obligations to Teachers Retirement System, Texas Workforce Commission, the Internal Revenue Services, and any other governmental agencies. This is a ceiling indicator. If the district would have failed this indicator, the highest score we could have received would have been a 95. Indicator number 5 is not being scored this year due to the impact of accounting changes implemented by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. Now going into the solvency indicators. Number 6, this is a new indicator, first time implemented. It measures the percentage of change in fund balance, and if fund balance is declining too quickly. We receive full points with the average change in fund balance of an increase 16.92%. This is a ceiling indicator, and in the event that the district had failed to meet the indicator, the maximum of points the district could receive would have been 89 points. Indicator number 7 measures how many days after the end of the fiscal year the district could cover operating expenditures, which is paying vendors and employees, without receiving any new revenue. We received full points with 184.664 days of cash on hand. Indicator number 8 measures whether the district has sufficient short-term assets at the end of the fiscal year to pay off its short-term liabilities, and we received full points, all 10 points. Number 9 simply asks if the district spent more than earned or whether the cash on hand exceeds 60 days, and we received all full points with 184.664 days on hand. Indicator number 10 measures how accurately the district projects revenues by comparing budget revenues through PEEMS in October to actual revenues submitted in the annual financial report. The district had a variance of 5.4%, and we received 10 points. This is also a new indicator for this fiscal year. Number 11 measures our long-term liabilities to total assets. This question is like asking someone if their mortgage exceeds a certain percentage of their market value on their home. The district's debt is 63.2% of its total assets. To achieve all 10 points, this would need to be less than 60%. We did fall a little short in this indicator, receiving 8 out of 10 points. I would like to point out that although our debt is higher than the 60% threshold, we are highly rated with a AA by Moody's and Standard & Poor's, and with a permanent school guarantee fund with a AAA credit rating. These factors mitigate the district's risk factor of a slightly higher long-term debt ratio. If our change in student membership over the past 5 years was 7% or higher, we would have automatically received full 10 points. Indicator number 12, it asks about the district's ability to make debt principal and interest payments that will become due during the year, and we had sufficient coverage with 4.6165 ratio. Number 13 measures the percentage of budget spent on administration. This percentage, the district's percentage of budget spent on administration was 8.61%, which slightly exceeds the cap of 8.55% for similar sized districts. Number 14 measures our PEIMS data to our annual audit, expecting variances to be lower than 3%. The district received all 10 points with a decline in student to staff ratio of 2.75%. Indicator number 15, this is a new indicator for this year. It measures how well the district was able to project daily average attendance compared to the actual, and we received full points. Number 16, the indicator measures our PEIMS data to our annual audit, expecting variances to be lower than 3%. The district passed with a 0% variance. This is also a ceiling indicator. In the event that the district failed this indicator, maximum points would be 89. Number 17 is asking if there are any material weaknesses in the district's internal controls reported by an internal auditor. The district passed this indicator. This is also a new indicator, and it is a ceiling indicator. In the event that the district failed this indicator, maximum points will be 79. Number 18 measures whether the district complies with laws, rules, and regulations related to the expenditures of grant funds, contracts, and other state and federal funds. We received 10 out of 10 points. Indicator number 19 is a new indicator. It measures whether the district complies with legal requirements related to financial transparency by posting all required information. We've received all points, 5 out of 5. And then lastly, indicator number 20, which is also a new indicator, is asking whether the board discussed property values and the impact on the district's finances. This is a ceiling indicator. In the event that the district failed this indicator, the maximum points would be 89, and we passed. The district scored 96 out of 100 possible points, receiving a superior achievement rating, which is the highest possible rating as established under the Texas Education Agency's guidelines and rules. Any questions?
Yeah. Since it is a public hearing, it is open. The floor is open to the audience as well. If you have any questions for our executive team up here, they'll be glad to answer any questions from the audience regarding our first report by TEA. Y'all just want to make a single comment on the changes. what brought about the 5 or 6 edits to the way it was changed?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good evening, board members, President Clem. The new indicators are much more stringent, and they are basically designed to what's going to happen as a result of them, or less districts are going to fall into the superior category. And some of the districts have already experienced that. Some of our neighbors who have been in the superior category for many years are now in the next lower category. So it's very easy to fall into one of those categories. So they're working as designed, but we are very proud that we're still in that superior category, but it doesn't take much to slip to that next level down. But we're doing a great job, and we're just proud of the superior rating this year.
Questions from anyone? All right, once again, I congratulate you on the superior rating, and thank you for your report.
Thank you. District effort. Thank you.
This will close the public hearing. Next on the agenda is citizens' participation. Citizens' participation is the time that the board will hear public concerns or public comments from those who have properly signed up to address the board. At regular board meetings, the board shall permit public comment regardless of whether the topic is an item on the agenda posted with notice at the meeting. General public comment is limited to no more than 30 minutes per meeting. At all other board meetings, public comment should be limited to open session items on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Each speaker is reminded that he or she is limited in his or her presentation to a maximum of 3 minutes, which can further be limited, or we're not going to do that tonight, so I'll skip that. Pursuant to state law and the board policy BE local, the board cannot consider or take action on concerns at this meeting unless they pertain to an item on the posted agenda for this meeting. Any deliberation or decision on an item that is not posted for consideration at this meeting shall be limited to a proposal to place the subject on the agenda of a future meeting. Tonight we have Ms. Kim Kostick, and Ms. Guy, will you be my timer? Ms. Kostick, I know you know how it works, so Ms. Guy will tell you when you have a minute left. Thank you. we have helpers.
Side's a little too wide. Good evening. My phone's a little janked up, but I think I can still read it. Thanks. Good evening, members of the board. I'm President Clem and Dr. O'Brien. There is no question that Goose Creek has become a leader in the state by developing a district-wide anti-bullying committee. Mentioned before in board meetings, and I will mention again, Senate Bill 2050 should not be ignored. SB 2050 strengthened Texas anti-bullying and cyberbullying laws as they pertain to schools. This addition to the law that became effective immediately on June 18th of this year requires that you, our board, develop or adopt into policy campus-level committees to specifically address bullying. I am proud to inform you that meetings that I have had with the assistant principal and campus representative of the district-wide anti-bullying committee of Travis Elementary, AP of Baytown Junior and campus representative, and the principal of Robert E. Lee High School, and also the campus representative of the anti-bullying committee, have led to campus-based advisory committees that will include a strong student representation, allowing their voice to be heard out loud. These campus initiatives will comply with what you as a board will need to require within our district, within our policies. This isn't the only policy revision required by our district or that we should be considering. And after mixed feedback I have received from several campus level administrators, including other campuses,
that concern the procedures of the entire process when investigating a bullying incident. I urge a review of the entire process and rubric or checklist that is now required within the state in this new law. I may not know all the ins and outs of a district, but I do know business and marketing, and a strong student voice is the only way to better understand our target market and build these relationships. We face many challenges, and we all know Rome wasn't built in a day. We have made great strides and should really laser focus this initiative. However, the way I see it, we are out of compliance with the law and that was effective nearly 6 months ago with no visible steps to meet these requirements. Let us also not forget it was an incident within our district that inspired this particular addition to this law. If there is one thing I have learned through my meetings, that these campus administrators are eager and they need the direction. They are also innovative and believe their enthusiasm and leadership should not be unrecognized. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kostick. And that will close citizens' participation. We'll move to item 6, approval of minutes, considering the November 8th, 2021 regular board meeting.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Have that's that word, motion, that's the word. Have a motion from Mrs. Guy and a second from Mrs. Barat-Timms that we approve the minutes as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. We have 4 for, and 3 absent, so the motion passes. Now discussion items. Dr. O'Brien, Superintendent's Reports.
Yes, we have a few for the board this evening. Our Goose Creek CISD District Improvement Plan and Campus Improvement Plans will be presented by Ms. Jackson, as well as a few of our campus principals.
Do we need to time this one? Okay. I just know. I was going to say the packet that you sent took long enough to get the trophy. Yes.
Had so much fun reviewing them at this time. So we just want to highlight a few of the district initiatives that we're doing, and I'm going to give them a chance to highlight a few things on their campuses as well. So some C&I initiatives that I think I thought you might find interesting was 43.3% increase in 4-year-olds. 43.3. So that goes really along with our initiative to really focus on our early childhood, and just kind of wanted to share that. Some of our campuses saw over 150% increase. So that's huge. Another focus is we are 11 career academies currently. 3 have earned national model status, 1 at each of the traditional high schools. And have to brag on Matt Flood's department. We are at 1-to-1 technology, and we're currently at 96% of those students have that in their hands. So that's really important. You know, college and career readiness, you hear it, that's our focus. So one of the things that we're really focusing on is how does AVID support that college and career readiness? And AVID is the vehicle that we have that really has, we've honed in on. Matt Bollinger, Kim Fox, and Kendall David are also part of that big initiative district-wide. And so we are really doing a secondary school-wide focus on AVID and really focusing on the Wicker strategies. Their team trained all of the brand new teachers on Wicker this year. We do have a national demonstration campus at Memorial, but we are not Goose Creek Memorial, but we're not happy with that. We want to get that bigger and better. So we have great ideas for about 2 other campuses, as well as a pilot
this coming year for probably 3 elementary campuses. Looking forward to that. We've increased our students that are enrolled in dual credit from 1,194 to currently, we have a solid count for you as 1612. Huge increase. And as far as seats, we've gone from 2398 to 3191. So huge increases in dual credit. I really want to commend you again as the school board because you helped really support that initiative of having those Lee College shared advisors between the two, and that has been just instrumental in maintaining that. And finally, I want to share some more stats with you on special education. Due to some new laws that have changed, there's different criteria that can qualify for SPED. So we've seen a growth over the last 5 years from 2,460 students. That was a 10% of our student population to 3,156 students, which is 13% of our population, with, I would like to add, about 400 folders in the pipeline to be tested. 400, say that one more time. So we're really diving deep into what we can do to kind of merge the 504 department with the SPED, because one of the qualifiers can be dyslexia now for just SPED. And really we're looking to make sure that we are meeting our testing timelines with that many students and serving and supporting our students that are in special education. So that's our big focuses right now. And now I will turn it over to Highlands and Hopper.
All right, good evening. All right. Good evening. I'm Ms. Capatillo, principal at Highlands Elementary, and my partner here, Ms. Maria Rosas, is at Hopper Primary. We collaborate together. We selected Goal 1 just to highlight the great things that are happening at both of our campuses. We're going to increase student achievement by providing them great learning opportunities. And one of the strategies that we are really honing in on and we're getting better at is our PLC process. We started this journey years ago. I think it was, I guess 5-6 years ago. Is that right? Okay. So at Highlands Elementary, we're really working to work on the right work, which is our PLC 15-day challenge. What we do, we look at the upcoming unit. We map out our common formative assessments, our end-of-unit assessments, and we use that data to create a targeted intervention and enrichment for our kiddos. So that is something we're really working on at Highlands. We've seen growth. That is what my teachers, that is what my students hear from our instructional specialists, our admin team, and our teachers as well, is to make sure that we're growing, we're going forward, we're not going back with our accountability system. And the way we do that is by maintaining data binders. Our teachers have data binders, and our students have data binders as well. Tomorrow we have our first round of benchmarks. We have our math benchmark, and today during lunch duty, I asked one of my kiddos, I said, hey, what is your goal? Oh, Ms. Capatillo, I can't go back. I have to go forward at least to 70 or better. So they're hearing that common language and vocabulary throughout the whole school. We also make sure that we're training our teachers and equipping them to start with the end in mind and then go from there. And the next one, strategy, I'll let Ms. Rosa share with you.
Yes, PLCs happens at Hopper every single week. We call them collaboration times, and either before school starts, middle of the day, or after school, depends on the grade level. So we do focus a lot on what the kids have to learn, and we have unit assessments as well, and we focus a lot on the phonics, and of course the math and the science a lot. And we track how the kids are progressing. The students do not have their own binder to track, but the teachers do have their folders to track the student improvement. Some of the strategies, of course, we pay attention very closely to the standards. What is it that the kids really, really have to learn? Yes, we do have the kids, but we really dissect every single one of the standards, and we try to focus on that. And one of the things that we're doing also is our campus instructional specialists meet at least twice a year or more if it's possible, and they do interact and talk about what is it that is required from first grade moving to second grade, because those are the grade levels that we concentrate a lot on, and we have those talks. And then the campus instructional specialists come to our campus and they discuss, their findings. Okay, let's focus on this, let's focus on that, let's prepare these kids in these areas. We're gonna have our first vertical alignment. First and second grade teachers, we're gonna meet next week, December 15, to be exact, after school, to discuss where we are, first grade and second grade teachers, and see what we can do to continue improving, because that's what they're doing. That's what we're doing right now. When we were talking, Ms. Capetillo and I, about what is essential that our first graders come to you, or what are the areas that we need to target based on the STAR test, the essential standards that we noticed that were a must, standard 1.6 and 2.6, those deal with make correct or confirm predictions using text features, characteristics of genre, and structures. Our kiddos have to learn those things even if they're in first grade, and we do a lot of that with the fiction and nonfiction stories, and with expository text and all of those things, and we know they have to know that. Predictions is a big one, and we target a lot in first grade during the share reading, and every single time they open a book and they look at a picture, they start making predictions. So we're targeting that must skill, and that's what we're doing. Yes. Pass it on, Bart. Ready?
Well, thank you, Ms. Capetillo. Okay, at De Zavala, we have some amazing things going on. We also follow the 15-day PLC challenge. That's something that a few years back, training-wise, that we received. And I feel like this year we have an even better grasp of how we're using that we're reviewing data. It's set up to be 3 times in a 15-day cycle, but it ends up almost being every day. And you walk into a classroom and you see teachers asking their students questions, and then after they've done their lesson, they're almost immediately moving into small group with students who didn't get it right, because we're not wanting to wait 15 days. We're actually wanting to address that even sooner. With the assessments that we have throughout the 15-day cycle, we have a very effective question by question. The example you see here is for math. We have one for math and reading as well. And they pull the kids to the back, and they really ask them about why they chose their answer. The students will give an answer, not just a yes or a no. And they talk about strategies, so that if they're expected to pass a STAR test at a certain level, our goal is to get them to that level, but then continue to move them higher and higher. Just to show, in 2019, if you look at the rank in 3rd, 4th, and 5th at De Zavala, this is where we started, and it was rank 15, rank 15, rank 13, rank 15, 15, 15, 15, and 15, and 15 is not good. And then in 2021, we went from 15 to 10, 15 to 8, and 13 to 3, 15 to 10, 15 to 2, 15 to 7, 15 to 1, and 15 to 2. So we have moved from a number 15 school to a top 5. And then, to my surprise, in a lead forward training, and this was a big surprise, the presenter had a slide, and it was something like this. But he basically says in description, to receive an acceptable rating for 2021 based upon the proposed 2021 alternative evaluation, a campus must meet 3 requirements set forth by TEA. 89 campuses out of 1,055, I believe, were reviewed, and De Zavala was one of the 89 campuses. So I think we were taken off the dreaded one of those lists. You know, and I've got some team members here, current and former, and I just want to say that, you know, without you guys, we just couldn't have done that. And so I love the staff.
Let them stand, please.
Yeah. And I want to say thank you to all, to you back there.
Okay, I did not get the award, right? Bart gets it. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, everybody, and congratulations on your achievements. Keep going.
That was 12 minutes, Ms. Jackson. Not bad, 12 minutes. Okay, next up, Dr. McCall will be bringing, I think, a few people up for the Anti-Bullying Committee update. Welcome, Dr. Reminick.
Good evening, Mr. President, Board of Trustees, Dr. O'Brien. Dr. Reminick and I are here with you to give an update for our Anti-Bullying Committee. It's been a few months since we've been here, maybe during the summertime when we talked about how we would get this committee started, and so we just want to share where we are at this point and then just kind of give you some insight on where we're going. So just to review a couple of things, just to bring it back to your memory banks, our purpose and desired outcome is to provide a safe and secure learning environment for all students and staff so that students can interact and thrive at school, in the community, and workplace. We understand that our calling is not just when the students are here with us in Goose Creek, but also we have to prepare them for what's beyond. So a few of our strategies here: increase awareness on bullying, cyberbullying, personal health and safety topics by marketing monthly district reporting procedures for bullying and cyberbullying. The supports that are available at each campus will also be highlighted. Collect information annually through student surveys and needs assessments that address bullying, cyberbullying, intrapersonal and interpersonal effectiveness, and personal health and safety. Very important that we collect information on student relationships, as well as, you know, how they take care of themselves through the health and safety standpoint. And then we also want to utilize student voice by incorporating surveys and needs assessment results to develop student groups, student workshops, guidance lessons, staff and family engagement topics each grading cycle. And you'll see that based on some of the feedback that we've received thus far, it's really influenced our work through the Social Emotional Learning and Student Wellness Department, which Dr. Reminick will go into further detail. So here are just a few pictures of the work and when it started back in July and in August. We knew that there was a lot of training that needed to take place in order to get our principals and assistant principals up to speed, all grade levels. We also spent some time with our student wellness interventionists because we knew that they were going to be a part of this work. In addition, we spent some time at our campuses making sure that they were aware that our anti-bullying committee was being started. And so we wanted to make sure that we not only made our community aware, but also trained our administrators on what the expectations would be and what we would expect from them as they're coming to the meetings throughout the month and what we will want to see when we come on their campuses. Here are a few pictures of beginning of the year orientations. Students are going to different grade levels, different campuses. And one of the things that the Social Emotional Learning and Student Wellness Department does a fantastic job with is making sure there's always a part of the program that gives parents and students information on what they need to do if they are needing to speak with someone. So who are the trusted adults on the campuses? Where are those resource cards so that students know exactly who they can reach out to if they're having, you know, concerns of bullying, suicide, all the things that our students deal with. We want to make sure that every year we have an opportunity to remind them of who those trusted resources are, especially for our students who are transitioning from one campus to another, because when they're on the previous campus, they may know who to talk to, but now that they're on a new campus, they need to know the resources are greater for them. So we meet on a monthly basis. We've had to make some changes to our meetings. Whenever there's a change in our board meeting, we are flexible and make changes to our meetings, and we've experienced that a couple of times, but we always make it work. Our remaining meeting dates, we have one coming up next week. And then as you see, January 10th, February 7th, all the way through May the 9th. And as we get close to the end of the school year, of course, we'll start preparing to release the dates for future meetings. But these are the regular scheduled meetings unless we have a board meeting date change, and we will adjust accordingly. So just to provide a quick summary of our fall meetings so far, in August, we spent all of that time doing committee orientations. We had to have two. That's at the beginning of the year when a lot of open houses are taking place, and so we wanted to be sure that we had all of our parents, all of our administrators available to be there, and so we had two meetings in August. In September, we established our committee norms, which was really good to frame out the work. We had our first campus do their spotlight. If you can remember, during that time when we were presenting to you what our proposed agenda would be, we would always have a campus there to talk about the systems that they have on campus to prevent bullying, student organizations that are there, what their teachers and counselors and administrators are going to do in the event that there's a situation, any sort of proactive strategies that they had. It's not only a way to report to the committee, but it's also a way for the other campuses to kind of hear what other campuses are doing, some innovative ideas, and maybe implementing some of those changes there as well. So E.F. Green was our first campus to do that, and then we had a PBIS overview. In October, we reviewed our student advocacy survey, which was taken towards the end of last school year, and we focused with our feeder pattern group work. If you can remember, we were very intentional about making sure each feeder pattern was represented, and for the last couple of meetings, we've had the groups broken up by feeder pattern, which gives an opportunity for maybe community members or parents to have some dialogue with the individuals that may service the area where they live. And then we also reviewed our district discipline data overview. In November, we continued that work. We used Thought Exchange for solutions to data. Thought Exchange is a tool that we typically use on our committees as a organized way to gather thoughts and maintain healthy discussion about the topic at hand. We continue to focus on that feeder pattern work. We had Gentry Junior School do their campus spotlight. And then, of course, we have our district data overview as we do every meeting. So to go into a little bit more detail about what that discipline data review looks like for every meeting, we look at different grade levels. We look at the time of day. What day of the week do we see discipline offenses happening on campus? What's the location on campus? Is it in the restroom? Is it in the cafeteria? Is it outside at dismissal? We also look at gender, ethnicity, in-class versus administrative review referrals. It just kind of gives you an idea of how in-depth we go. When we get to this part of our committee meetings, it does engage a lot of conversation, but it's healthy conversation because it really gets us to look at, as a district, our spikes in discipline and where are those areas that we need to address. And so every meeting, we go through this discussion. We have conversations and vulnerable conversations with our principals because we do put campus information up. And it's an opportunity for them to, reflect, have discussions if they need to, answer any questions that may come up during that time. And last but not least, we certainly talk about programs, interventions, and solutions because it's one thing to present the data, but it's another thing to talk about some solutions and be able to monitor those solutions before the next meeting. I'll turn it over to Dr. Reminick.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay. So some of the information that we received when we were working with the committees is that, of course, the recommendation was that lots of lessons be given to students. And so we knew going in that time is always a concern. So being proactive, we decided that within the SEL department that we would switch our focus to where we can ensure that students and families get this information. So coming soon, we will have monthly family engagement topic meetings based on SEL topics such as bullying, healthy relationships, social media, etc. These meetings will be after hours and virtual, and it will be a platform for both students and parents. Additionally, we are going to have a family engagement conference during the month of May, which is also Mental Health Awareness Month, and we're planning for a conference district-wide for students and families. On the screen now, you will see some information that came from the student advocacy survey results. As Dr. McCall mentioned, last spring, a survey was given to our students. And so what we did is we wanted to take time for the feeder patterns to take a look at that data and dive in. So there's a picture of the GCM feeder pattern. They took a look at the data and they were to do a 4-square activity.
During the 4-square activity, the first 3 squares were about group work. And so the first one was about what are your initial thoughts about the data. Then they had to talk about any confirmations that they had in affirming the data, and then any ahas. The 4th square was to be completed individually, but the groups were working so hard together, some of them decided to give a group answer. So we didn't quite follow directions on the 4th activity. So it was important that we heard both from the groups and also individuals. So what we did during the November meeting was we asked again for individuals to submit their thoughts on the data and come up with some possible solutions to decrease bullying in our schools. And we utilized thought exchange for that activity. And so as you can see, 40 of the participants gave their thoughts, and we came up with a total of 57 thoughts from those 40 participants. And the participants ended up giving us 1,048 ratings. And so the ratings were ordered by the order of importance, and so you'll see that on the screen, the top 3. And of course, the first one is provide students and staff with a clear and concise definition and understanding of what bullying is. And then the side note is everything has become the B word. And there was great conversation about that even at our November meeting. Then also, again, educating parents about what bullying is and using the same language to ensure that parents and students understand what bullying is, and having one unified voice in the district, having a common language. And then finally, of course, educating our students. They need to understand what bullying and the impact that it has on others. So as we go through the next slides, we met with you all and gave a presentation at the beginning of the year. We talked a great deal about Character Strong, which is our SEL instruction that we have for students in K through 12th grade. And so I wanted to share just some of that work and how it looks. So you'll see on the presentation a slide, of course, from our little people. Here are some pictures, and you can see them getting their lesson, and then also the kindness cart that's over from BP Hopper. Then here's some pictures from our actual 2 junior schools. Dr. McCall and I do go to visit the campuses once a week on Wellness Wednesdays to see how the lessons are coming and just to get feedback. And so you'll see the lessons listed on the board. You'll see also some post-it notes of where students are now applying the skills that they learn, writing notes to one another, such as you can do this, remember you're beautiful and don't let people let you down. And then in the middle, you'll see just some regulations of emotions. That was a lesson in one of the classrooms. And then there are some testimonials listed. We were getting feedback verbally. We did ask the team, do you all have any, emails? Some did, and we wanted to capture that as well. And so you'll see all the way from elementary, where they're talking about how they can now see the lessons being infused within a climate and culture of their campus. You'll see some testimonials from both teachers and Ms. Rosas, who just presented as well. Her testimonial is up there as well. They're seeing a lot of good examples and non-examples. We wanted to hear from secondary, because sometimes we get overlooked in secondary, and we think that these skills still are not important, but they are. And so here's some testimonials there. One from Cedar Bayou, where they're saying that the information is relevant to the students' needs. And then Mr. Blanson talked about how he's starting to see a shift in his culture based upon the lessons that are being implemented. And then all the way down to Sterling High School, where a teacher shared that she was given the lesson thinking that it was Wellness Wednesday, and it wasn't. And the kids reminded her, but they wanted to keep on going. So those are just a few testimonials. Mm-hmm. And then there's our glows and grows, just overall. Our glows are that healthy relationships are being developed. Students are using and speaking about character traits with others. And then our adults, they're learning and personally using the lessons as well, because the teachers are saying as they're doing it, it's making an impact on them as they're actually teaching it. Some of our grows, more Spanish resources are needed, such as books, videos, and songs with character traits. There's, of course, not enough time to complete a full lesson. We've asked for only 15 minutes once a week at the secondary level. And then character vocabulary, that's something that's come out quite a bit. When lessons are being covered, sometimes our students aren't understanding what it means and how it applies to their lives.
And I'll just add before we open the floor for questions, a lot of it is we've opened a lot of good conversation with our principals as we're going on to different campuses. As Dr. Reminick mentioned, one of the things that we must do is inspect what we expect from our campuses, and we understand as former campus principals, there are lots of priorities that pull at our campuses. Academic interventions, lots of policies, guidelines, but what we ask for, we expect to see when we go on the campuses, and for the most part, we do. If we have any concerns, we immediately give feedback to, if we can't get the principal, we'll get the assistant principal, just to let them know that, hey, this is what we saw. Here are some things that you may want to work on for next time. We strategize with campus leaders if they have any types of questions about how to get it done. We just want to be sure that we're seeing those character education lessons happening and inspecting and making sure that they are, so that when our campuses are going up in front of this committee, they're doing it with fidelity and giving the correct information that's been verified by us as the facilitators. And so we really get out there to check and make sure that it's happening on our campuses. Any questions for us as a group?
Okay, good evening. Thank you for your presentation. I apologize for missing the last anti-bullying committee meeting. I won't miss the next one, but February 7th might be a problem. That might be a school board meeting.
So we need to reschedule. Okay.
Yeah, that, Ms. Garcia.
We'll work on that while you ask your question.
Okay, so Ms. Kostick came up earlier and addressed the board and concerning SB 2050, which is something that I know we did not really go into a lot of discussion about at the meetings that I attended before this last one, and please stop me and correct me if you did it without me. That would be awesome. But there are very specific requirements for a district policy, and I think that that's one of the primary focuses of the board's push for this committee to be formed, is that we really look into those requirements, and part of the work of that committee has got to be to develop a good district policy that satisfies SB 2050 while obviously reaching our strategies and goals of the committee for our students, the health of their campus climate, providing them with, all the goals that we obviously have. But there's very specific requirements set out by SB 2050 for us to meet in that process. One of which, every single campus has to have an anti-bullying committee, and every single campus has to have students from every single grade level meeting and achieving these goals, working toward this common end. And that's something that I don't think we have really taken hold of and pushed forward with our anti-bullying district committee. We need to get a little bit more forward with that, I think. And honestly, I think we need to explain that better to our campus administrators and making sure that that is complied with in some form or fashion. So I don't know that I really had a question. I just wanted to make that comment. Otherwise,
Yes, ma'am.
I think we're doing a great job in moving forward. But we, do want to continue being a leader in this field, and we want to make sure that each campus has the tools they need in order to form these committees and reach these students, face to face, get them interactive with the whole process. That's the only way to change the culture on the campuses for the students, is for the students to be equipped to do it. Other than that, I appreciate all the hard work y'all are putting into this. I think we're definitely moving forward, and I think we're going to see some good things. We've got a couple of campuses that Ms. Kostick mentioned have already begun to form those committees, and now we need to encourage the rest to follow suit. So,
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
but I'll be at the meeting next week, I promise.
Excellent. Thank you.
Anyone else?
On answering that, I think in one of your because I'm kind of lost on this, but one of the things that you mentioned in your report is that you were, and what I see here is that increased activity. And what I'm hearing, did you increase it at all sites, or because I heard you when Dr. Romanek had mentioned that you were doing it on all grade levels. So if we're doing it on all grade levels, are we meeting at the needs at all schools when we're saying that?
I guess I'm trying to follow you, Ms. Barat-Timms.
Well, what she had mentioned that it's not at all schools. What I'm trying to say, but you stated that, we're meeting all levels. And so would that mean that we are at all schools?
Yes, ma'am. So
all campuses? Right.
So we need to, as Ms. Wood stated, we need to certainly go back and make sure that all of our campuses are following the Senate bill to fidelity. We do have campuses that are already on board. We've updated and given the information to our campus leaders, and they're already moving. Some campuses are moving faster than others. And so the campuses that are not quite turning that stone over yet, they just need a little bit of encouragement, as mentioned before. But certainly our expectation is to be in compliance. And so we will continue to work through that and, of course, involve the committee in this work a little bit more instead of handling it so much internally.
Mr. Barat-Timms, I think what you heard was every single grade level data is reviewed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
I think the question from Ms. Kostick was, do we have representatives from every grade level on the campus committees?
So that's when we present any sort of discipline data. Yes, ma'am. We look at every grade level, and every grade level is represented at the committee meeting. So there's a campus leader there to address that matter. Yes, ma'am. And grade levels as well.
Just like algebra.
Thank you.
Turning this into just a little bit of a question relating to the Senate Bill 2050, are there commissioners' rules on that yet, or are we on our own still? I can't find them if they exist.
We rarely get a whole lot of guidance. We're just told that this is what you need to do, and so we do what we're told to do, and we try to make sure that we're in compliance with it.
And then just to clarify, and I'm looking at the bill right now, it does say that we need to have a committee on each campus, on each district campus, by focusing on prevention efforts and health and wellness initiatives. It also, right after that, says require students at each grade level to meet periodically for instruction on bullying relationships and preventing bullying. I don't read that as requiring each grade level to be on the committee, but I think that should be in our policy that we're surely developing right now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah? Okay. Because I'm hearing from my colleagues that that's what we would expect, but it's not necessarily a requirement. But I'm glad to know that things are happening on the campus, and I've been in lots of campuses recently, and I hear morning announcements, our character trait of the day is, and then I hear lots of people talking about that throughout the day, and just different things like that are new, and I like what I'm hearing. And like the others, I thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Thank you. One last comment. We talked a lot about elementary level today and the character strong, which is great because that does, of course, satisfy some of the things that we need to do. And I know we've done other things in the past, but I really, really like captains and presidents for our junior highs and high schools, just FYI. That would be a great anti-bullying committee.
And February 7th is a regular board meeting.
So we will be making an adjustment. Yes. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next report is not an anti-bullying report, but a Goose Creek athletics report. With us the evening, we have our athletic director, assistant director, and each of our campus coordinators. They presented to you this summer before school started, and they're here to make a mid-year report. Good evening, gentlemen.
Oh, and FYI, you guys have a lot of captains from your teams that would really make a good basis to start off these anti-bullying committees.
Can you? Okay, good evening. Thank you to the board and President Clem and Dr. O'Brien for having us today. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to let you know what we do in athletics. One of the things we had a discussion with Executive Council last year was try to align as much as possible academics and athletics to see how they correlate with each other. Having to do that, one of the questions was asked, how are we going to make sure that this gets done? Coach Smith and myself, and along with the campus coordinators, came up with 5 core values that we believe in. And we'll start that with the first slide. Our district has a portrait of a graduate, so we decided to copy and go with a portrait of an athlete. And the 5 core values that we're going to put our everything into is enthusiasm, college ready, compete, community, and accountability. How do we do this? Well, we had to do a lot of work as far as getting these guys together. But if you can see the next slide. With college ready and accountability, right now we have a belt that we want to give, a championship belt. I'm having trouble with this. So right now the total number of athletes at Sterling High School is 657. As you can see, the total number of athletes passing is 610 with a passing percentage of 92.8, which ranks first in high school in Goose Creek CISD. Lee High School has a total number of 405 athletes. The number passing is 357 with a passing percentage of 88.2, which ranks second. Thirdly, we have Goose Creek Memorial with 595 athletes, 519 passing percentage of 87.2%, which ranks third in Goose Creek CISD and high schools. Total number of athletes is 1,657. Total passing is 1,486 with a passing percentage of 89.7. I guess we could have rounded that off to 90, but we didn't. Every 3 weeks, we are asking our head coaches to communicate with their campus coordinator to give them every grade. Every athlete has to submit a passing report. As you saw, Sterling won the first 9 weeks. So with that, we give them a championship belt. We do celebrate wins and losses, but we also need to celebrate academic championships as well. So we give them, and they're allowed to take pictures. They come together, and that's put on a website. That's put on the district website so everybody can see. We also do that with our junior high students, our junior high athletes. Horace Mann, with a total number of athletes of 123. The number of athletes passing is 121, with a passing percentage of 98.4, which ranks first in our junior highs. Gentry is a total number of athletes of 217. Total number of athletes passing is 213, with a passing percentage of 98.2%, which ranks second. Cedar Bayou has 104 athletes, 179 passing, a passing percentage of 97.3%, which is number 3 in Goose Creek. Baytown Junior, his total number of athletes of 130. Athletes passing is 125, with a passing percentage of 96.2, which is number 4 in Goose Creek. 5, we have E.F. Green, 202 athletes, 194 passing, with a passing percentage of 96%. And then ranking number 6 is Highlands, with 117 athletes, 110 passing, 94% passing rate. And I said they finished number 6, but as you can see, all the junior highs are in the 90s. I mean, they're all up there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 really is a moot point. When I will take this anytime and be 6th place any day of the week. I think it's a great accomplishment for all of our student athletes to understand the importance of athletics. If you look at a total for junior high, you have 973 total student athletes. Passing, you have 942. That gives us a 96.8% passing rate with our student athletes. As you can see a picture with Horace Mann, the coaches and students got creative, and with them winning the academic championship belt, took a nice picture that's going to be on our website. And we would do this every 9 weeks. They are to report every 3 weeks. Every progress report is to be turned in. You know, we do get one of the complaints we got from teachers where, well, coach only comes talk to me when they need a pass. Well, we wanted to change that mindset across the district, and we hold them accountable every 3 weeks. It's expected to be turned in a Google Doc by every head coach to every campus coordinator, obviously, and then it comes to us as well. All the athletes in Goose Creek is a total number of 2,630. Total number of athletes passing is 2,428, with a passing percentage of 92.3%. We have one of the other pieces we talked about was community. Community service hours is very important to us in our belief, one of our 5 core beliefs. These are certain hours that we have already listed, and that Sterling has already done. Sterling has already done 296 community service hours. Lee has done 60 community service hours, and GCM has done 50 community service hours. Once these are done, they're logged into us, and we get them, you know, right away. I know this number is going to increase throughout the year. That was one thing we really wanted to push to our coaches, and I know from our campus coordinators to the head coaches. Gentry has 145 hours of community service done. Horace Mann with 120. E.F. Green with 52.25. Highlands with 37 hours. Baytown Junior with 18. And Cedar Bayou with 13 hours. Well, that is tough. These are listed in front of you. This is what they have done. You see a backpack drive. You see hamburgers for the homeless, cereal box donations, trash pickup, Special Olympics, holiday toy bags. I know currently we're doing Toys for Tots. There's a family adoption, Christmas clothing drive, even a family PS4 donation. You figure that one out. But anytime we could give back to our community, our players will see there's a way to win on and off the field. And this is one thing we really want to stress to all of our coaches, to all of our student athletes, that what you learn on the field definitely is going to contribute to you in society, as well as when you leave here, go to college and get your job and start your career. Here's enthusiasm and competition. We have our celebration here with Sterling Ranger Volleyball. They were able to make the playoffs this year. Made a by-district round game against Barbers Hill. We also have the Sterling Rangers boys cross country. They made the regional cross country meet. Coach McDowell does a fantastic job with all of his runners, and they compete at a high level. We also have the Sterling Ranger tennis team, who this year went to the state semifinals, to the regional semifinals, excuse me, after having a regional final appearance last year. To win 4 playoff games and to win 3 playoff games, it's not an easy thing to do. There are coaches that go a whole career without getting to the 4th round, and they tend to do it 2 years in a row, and we're looking for some bigger things from them in the years to come. Goose Creek Memorial, the GCM girls cross country, regional cross country meet, competed very well. Go ahead. GCM tennis was a by-district playoff contender. To get in there after the tough year that Coach had was definitely a great accomplishment. He had a tough year to go through. Real proud to see him get there. At Lee, we have the girls individual cross country, competed in the regional cross country meet. Started off well, finished off a little bit sluggish, but I know with the youngness of their team, they're going to contribute and continue to get better in the years to come. And we're here to grow giants. We're here to win on and off the field. We want to win. We love vertically aligning what we do. Goose Creek Athletics, you see on top, enthusiasm, competition, college ready, community, and accountability. We're going to hold our campus coordinators. That's why they're here with us now. We're going to hold them to that high standard, along with all the head coaches that are running athletics in our schools. We want to continue to improve. We will continue to improve, and most importantly, we're going to wear this brand, and we're going to buy into the Here We Grow Giants. And that's our way of vertically aligning athletics with our district goals. Any questions for us?
I want to commend the report here indicates that we have a high focus in our athletic programs for academic success. So I want to commend each of you for that. The campus coordinators play a large role in that, as they're the first line with the students on the campuses. Anything you'd like to share with us, coordinators? Challenges yet to overcome? I know district-wide we're dealing with attendance issues and things of that nature, but anything y'all would like to share?
I just want to echo what Coach Martinez just said. We're beyond grateful for the support and the resources you guys have given us, and we all know what we've been through these last 2 years, and it's trending in the right direction. Keep your unwavering support, and I promise you we're going to make you proud.
Like the Houston Rockets?
Well, I just want to say thank you. I've been doing this 24 years now, and I've yet to sit in front of a board meeting to express some of the concerns that we have and some of the things that we're doing. So my hat goes off to you guys for listening and being here for us. And I tell you, I'm proud to be here, and I love being here.
I would like to share a little good news, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
We had one of our senior players went to visit Vanderbilt University this weekend, which is one of if you know anything about college football and academics, that is one of the top universities and probably the top academic school in the Southeastern Conference. So he visited and has been offered a scholarship there at Vanderbilt University, which if that doesn't
that's awesome.
If that doesn't attribute to what we're trying to get done there, great by him, great student, great kid, and I think that might the rest of the kids seeing that is going to be hopefully a great help in their future as far as how they attack their academics. So thank you again, like everybody else said.
Glad to hear you feel supported by the school board and administration. Coach Smith, you have anything for us? Anything we can do to contribute to your success?
I'd just like to add that I'm really proud to be a part of what we're doing. You know, for somebody who's been at Goose Creek for 13 years, seen a lot that goes on here, and I really think we are trending in the right direction. I think the vision that Coach Martinez has brought to the table for all of us sitting here, as somebody who was a campus coordinator, with Coach Toomer, I think it's good for all of us. I think it's good for everything involved, for the community, for the campus, for the morale. I just think there's so many positives to the overall direction that we're heading, and I'm very thankful to be a part of it. And thank you guys for having all of us.
Well, and thank you for inviting us to the coin toss at the last game. That was lots of fun. I've never been that close to a coin toss before. And so I wasn't sure what to expect, but it was very entertaining. I was not at the bottom of a pile, which I kind of was expecting, but yeah, nor was I poured Gatorade or any surprises. What I would like to ask the coordinators is, has the 9-week reporting periods made any impact on your programs, and is that maybe why we're monitoring grades more closely?
I think it gives us an opportunity to monitor the kids longer because it is a 9-6 weeks, but it was kind of up and down for that first 6 weeks because the teachers had to understand that this is a grading cycle. This is not a progress report. But I think it helped us out tremendously, with our, monitoring our kids, giving them longer to be able to do the grade reports and making sure they had the Zoom meetings and catching up with grades. So on our campus, we love it.
Good. Following up, since you just brought this to mind and it will not come back, the teachers are putting a numerical grade for you every 3 weeks, or is it a pass-fail type thing?
I think we all can say the same thing.
Yeah.
It's numerical, but I think, like you said, everyone's getting used to. It used to be 6 for so long. Now it's 9. I think everyone's learning on the job, but it's gone very well. And I think with time, just like anything else, it'll become the norm and get better.
Okay. Well, I think your passing rates are fairly incredible, and I was kind of shocked because I was, even though I'm not teaching anymore, I was scared to death of the 9-week thing because I know how 6 weeks goes. But anyway, congratulations on your successes with that.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate the report.
Thank you.
All right. Superintendent's report number 4 tonight. We pushed a few back a few months, and so we're getting them all knocked out this evening. Rezoning options update. Ms. Leith and, shall I say, Dr. Bollinger will be presenting to us this evening.
I think Dr. O'Brien should maybe be up for the award for longest reporting because.
Really?
I mean, technically, y'all are all doing his report.
This is good. Boy, you bring up a good point. You're right.
I can deliver that trophy to his office.
We'll get back to you.
Well, 4 reports. Our goal is 10 minutes each. They've only gone 15 minutes each, so we're right on track.
All right, we'll try to catch us up. Okay, so good evening, President Clem, Dr. O'Brien, Board of Trustees. Christy Leith and I are here to talk a little bit about rezoning update, and so we want to talk about the committee work so far that's been done by the Rezoning District Task Force, and also present 2 options that will go to the community after this presentation. So just as a reminder, we are rezoning for the opening of Pumphrey next year. This is a live shot going on right now. Just kidding. Of Pumphrey Elementary, and so, but this was done about 2 weeks ago, and that they're building fast and furious, and so we're excited to see this school come to completion. Set to open this coming fall. Also, it will house the Early Learning Academy on the north side as well. So anytime we do rezoning, this is the same information as last month, but just as a reminder, we have several guidelines and objectives that we follow, including making sure that we're reducing overcrowding, we're planning for the future, and that we're making decisions that make sense, that the zones are contiguous as much as possible, and they meet the needs of our community. For this specific purpose, we are rezoning for Pumphrey Elementary, and we are looking at not only aligning the numbers for Pumphrey, but also addressing some concerns with other elementaries that are at capacity or a little bit over capacity. So that was also part of this process as well. And so wanted to make this point. Our goal for the committee was to make sure that we do not create more disruption than we have to. We know that any time that we rezone for a school, there's a lot of excitement with that going to a new school, but also there's a lot of anxiety when certain families are moved from one school to the next school. And so we don't want to create unnecessary disruptions if we don't have to. So with that in mind, Christy is going to walk us through some of those rezoning options that the committee came up with.
Okay, first we'll look at the current zones. And as you can see, we have, as Matt said, basically the campuses, with the exception of Highlands Hopper, that are being impacted. The reason we put Highlands Hopper within this map is because it's in the vicinity, but it's not impacted by the 2 options that the committee came up with. Okay, these are, you'll see the capacity issues. You can go ahead and click it. Just looking at our current zones, 3 in particular, Banuelos at 113% capacity currently, 98% at Crockett, and 108% at Travis. So we work to try to alleviate that. All right, zoning option A, very first one. As you can see, Pumphrey is located there, surrounded in yellow, and we have some planning units that which we'll show you, yes, planning units that will be moved to create this option A. You can go ahead and. Okay, the very first one is up above the Banuelos and Victoria Walker area. Actually, 2 of them. And then the bottom, you'll see there's a planning unit that currently exists within Travis or is it Crockett? I can't remember.
No, it's Travis.
It's Travis. going to Crockett. Okay? There it is. It's that little one down there is what I was talking about. So basically you're looking at 4 planning units being impacted with this move. Now, of course, within each planning unit, you have different developments, which we'll talk about in just a moment. And this results in the capacities that you see here. With option A, Banuelos would be dropped to 79% beginning next year. Also, this is, can I use that just a second? Yeah, thanks. Okay. And you can see where Pumphrey actually starts out at 53%, but by the end of, beginning with 2025, they're already at 101%. Travis, we were able to drop it a bit, and it continues to drop as the years go on. Okay, zoning option B. If you'll take a look at this one, the planning units that are impacted here, same 2 at the top. We have more planning units being impacted with this one, but for instance, the one that's just circled just now that popped on the screen, that is, I think it's 5B. There's no student that lives there right now, but the projection in the next, I think by year 3, will be some students beginning to populate that area. Same thing for, there's another planning unit that's being impacted. This particular unit that is below 5B has 1 student in it right now, and I believe that continues for the next 4 to 5 years. And again, the same planning unit between the Crockett and Travis zone. Capacity with this particular, well, I'm not very good with this thing. I don't know where the light went. There you go. The capacities you can see, obviously, on your own of what they would look like. Great. Okay, Matt.
Okay, so these are the options next to one another. You have option A and option B. And we also added a slide just to be a little bit clear on these planning units. And so whenever we do our survey, similar to what we did last year in the community survey, they will see the actual neighborhoods or the developments also being rezoned. If you notice, just due to where Pumphrey is located up north, that the units, the developments in, this thing's not working, in green, the developments in green are being rezoned for both A and B. So they're being moved regardless, and so that's important to note. And again, those are mostly the neighborhoods surrounding Pumphrey, crossings of Baytown in that area. And then in option B, like Ms. Leith referenced, there's 2 developments that are really future developments. And so they haven't even received a name yet, so that we know that's coming within the next 3 to 5 years. Okay, so our next steps are to get community feedback from our community, and so we do that through two steps. One step is we provide an online survey. We will advertise this through social media, through our website, through the media to receive input from the community from December 10th through January 14th. Citizens have the opportunity to voice their opinions, their preferences, and we as a committee will take that information into consideration and review all the comments. And so that they will basically look at the option A, look at option B, and then they will vote on which one that they prefer, and they can also add comments as to why they prefer that option. And then there's an open-ended response at the end for additional comments. Also, on January 13th, we will have a public forum at E.F. Green Junior School from 6:30 to 7:45. So if citizens want to come in person, and very similar to citizens' participation here, they have the opportunity to speak. They also have the opportunity to write out a comment if they don't want to provide a verbal response. They can provide a written response. We will do a presentation very similar to this one first, and then we'll open it up to the floor for any comments. And so those 2 steps will allow the committee to receive community input. And then our next steps is once that's concluded, we will come back together as a district task force, review the data, look at the preference, and then eventually provide a recommendation to the board, ideally in early February at the February board meeting. Okay, that's our presentation. At this time, we can attempt to answer questions.
Technical question. On the 13th, where's the public forum? I was typing and you
That's okay.
changed.
It's at E.F. Green Junior School.
At E.F. Green. Okay, there you go.
Showcasing that campus. Can you go back a couple slides? That one.
With his drone?
So who's winning? San Jacinto Elementary or Pumphrey Elementary? They're in contest with construction. Do you know, Mr. Bollinger? We're excited
it's a close
to be over
tie.
So I would say Pumphrey Elementary is winning right now with that particular site. They are maybe 2 or 3 percentage points ahead of San Jacinto.
Well, let's get a little competition going.
They are in competition.
Okay, good. Would you go back to the slides that show A and B, the maps A and B together? And I'm just going to come over there to avoid confusion.
Get up really close because I can't read the little.
All right. This little blue piece on each map. What's going on right here? Pocket zone.
Come up.
Looks like we're pulling a pocket like we did in the 80s.
I'm not mistaken. It's too many kids.
It's one of the demographer's pockets.
The one in white? Are you referring to the one in white?
Yes, the one in the white.
Yeah, I can tell you that. I'm sorry. Okay. This one right here in blue is currently zoned to Banuelos, and we had 3 transportation staff in our committee who provided comments, and so we don't think that there was a concern with driving from one zone to the next because they provided input on both of these options.
On both of these maps, that set up a little flag for me because we sat in this room with demographers before and said, do not talk.
Right.
That's how it exists right now.
Yeah, and I want to make sure we stick to our guns on that.
And I'll tell you that we are removing one of the pocket zones. There is a pocket zone that's going to Crockett right now, and in both options, we're moving them to Carver.
I saw that, and I like that.
Yeah, and I would also say that this zone right here, I think it has to do with transportation. I don't know exactly, but I remember in our conversations that
Blame it on
it made sense. I will. And but
he's not here, so that's fine.
But we are moving that for this option. At least it goes to an option B. It goes to Travis.
And neither of those would cause me to put it away or vote against it, but I just want to be sure we're addressing that we're not moving backwards on our zoning practices.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, both of you. Appreciate your time. And thank everybody on the committee, because I know I was up here last week just for a visit, and this room was buzzing with rezoning.
Awesome.
And going crazy.
Okay, thank you.
You very much. Okay, now we'll move to agenda item 8, action items, and letter A is consideration of opting out of TRS Active Care.
And we have Ms. Stephanie Meyer here to answer any questions the board may have on this matter, as it is an individual item. It's something that she has spent quite a bit of time comparing to other school districts in the state and in our region. Come on up, Ms. Meyer. I think we'll find that on page 109 in your books.
You're the only one that gets a book.
Oh. On your page. On your page.
We don't have page numbers. That was on the old board book. We've all got all this confusing stuff.
It's literally 132, page 132 in hours.
So don't refer to page numbers.
Good evening, Ms. Meyer. Mr. Chapa.
I was just showing her where we put a PDF up there on the screen.
Oh.
You have the PowerPoint? It is. There it is. Left or right, either one. Press the button until it's green.
Can you hear me? Awesome. Good evening, President Clem, Dr. O'Brien, Board of Trustees. I have a small presentation today as we have had several conversations over the last couple years about a very hot topic of TRS and our medical insurance and having the option to opt out of our medical insurance. That's changed a little bit with the Senate Bill 1444. So I have a little bit of history. Over the past year, through the DOI and amendment, we were able to offer an alternative medical plan through TSHBP. That plan has been going very well. We've had that since September, but through that, we actually went through the board approval process in May, and then we enrolled in that policy effective for September the 1st. And then with the Senate bill in July, they actually changed that a little bit with TRS, and most of you are very well aware of that. And then we now have the option to opt out of TRS, but we will not have the option to continue offering our alternative medical plan if we choose not to opt out of TRS, and that will be effective for September the 1st of 2022. And so we do have an option for our 22-23 school year to consider, and that's staying with the TSHBP plan and our direct care plan that we currently have, which is our alternative medical plan that we're offering, and then offering another plan that is similar to TRS. Now, current enrollment in this plan is for our TRS active care plan. We do currently have 1,113 employees that are enrolled in either the high deductible plan, the primary plan, Primary Plus, or the active care 2 plan. And in our alternative medical plan, the TSHBP, we have 1,013 employees that are enrolled in that plan in either the high deductible or the copay plan. So the total enrollment in all medical plans is 2,126. Currently right now, there are several districts that have already put in their notice that they are opting out of TRS for this next school year, for the 2022 school year, and so those are listed here. The final list will be compiled because a notification has to be given to TRS by December 31st of this year. So they are looking for that list to grow a little bit. The plan design for the 22-23 school year is that we would like to keep the same alternative medical plan, if that's possible, with the direct care option, which is the TSHBP plan that we have, and then we are looking to add in the Aetna plan that is an Aetna signature plan. It is very similar to the current TRS plan that has the same type of coverage and network for hospitalization. The only difference is that you're not required to have a PCP on file or a referral for specialist. And so we are looking to try to keep that similar to what we currently have now so that our employees are not having to make big changes and not have the coverage that they need. This is just a list of the regional rates for right now, and this is for the high deductible plan along with the Aetna signature plan. And it's very similar to what we have currently right now with the alternative plan and then also with TRS and their rates. And so on the memo that was actually submitted to Dr. O'Brien and the board, part of the reason for why we're even considering this option is a lot to do with TRS and what we've actually encountered over the last several years and the flexibility options that have not been available with TRS, and as they continue to increase our premiums and then continue to limit the level of coverages and things that our employees have available to them. So we are requesting to possibly look at the option of opting out of TRS. Any questions on that? Okay. And while you're looking for those questions, I do want to point out that we've had several conversations over the last couple of years about going back to being self-insured. And so what we are actually requesting is not to be self-insured. We want to keep a level funded plan similar to what we have with TRS and the direct care option that we have with the TSHBP to continue to minimize the risk and liabilities to the district.
The deadline for this is December 31st?
Yes, sir.
And so the decision has to be made tonight by this board
yes, sir.
regarding whether or not to...
No, I have until December 31st.
Well, yes.
Right.
Just saying.
Yes.
On the slide with the Region 4 rates, those are 21-22 school year?
So this is actually going to be for the 22-23 school year.
Those are next year's prices?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's the financial benefit to the district to make a change?
So the financial benefit to the district is that it's not, because we pay the same amount for them.
We're not going to change our contribution whether we get it from Mo, Larry, and Curly or Aetna or whoever, correct?
Yes, our contribution will stay the same.
I just wanted to make sure I was correct on that. Do we see a financial benefit to our employees?
Yes. So the rates...
At what level? I mean, on this slide, where would I need to be moving from TRS, what level to where on this chart to see a savings or a benefit?
So on either one of the plans, so if you were currently on the TRS Active Care HD plan, then if you were to move to the high deductible TSHBP plan, which is our alternative medical, or the new Aetna signature plan, you would see a cost savings. Right now, TRS is projecting a 6% increase. They are looking at moving to what they call regional rates for next school year.
Can I ask you where you got that 6%? Because I spent most of the day on the phone trying to get that and could get it from no one.
So I actually had an email that we got from our TPA.
TRS?
Well, it came from our TPA, but also from the presentation that I was part of that on Tuesday of last week or Wednesday of last week. They put out a screenshot of regional rates, and I can forward it to you. But it was the regional rates is it's 5% for our region, so it would be a 5% increase plus an additional 1% increase for our area. So right now it's proposed 6.
Regional rates means if I live, and I'm just going to go on my own experience, if I live in the Rio Grande Valley where healthcare is a little less expensive, I'm going to pay less as a teacher for active care, whatever, than, say, a teacher in Dallas does, because that's a very expensive place to live. So we're gonna. Is that standard in the industry, in the market? If we go out of TRS and into the competitive market, are regional rates pretty standard?
Yeah, not necessarily regional rates, but it'll be more organizational rates, because they'll look at your actual claims data for your organization to see.
So it's very regional specific to your organization. Does Aetna on this slide come from Aetna specifically, or are we going through the intermediary?
It'll be through TSHBP, and it's the Aetna signature plan.
Okay, and is there a reason we have to go through them instead of dealing directly with Aetna?
Because they've already come up with the regional rates for our area.
Okay.
And when you go individually with Aetna, then you would be going into more of what you would look at as a self-insured plan, and not a level-funded plan.
Okay. Do we have any idea of what coverage looks like?
Yes. Yeah, so the coverage...
Other than just telling me it's similar, I mean, how similar is it?
It mirrors it exactly. So exactly what TRS's plan is with the 80-20 on the primary plan, primary plus. The only difference is you don't have to have those referral for specialists, and you don't have to have a PCP on file. But for the high deductible plan, right now it's 70-30. It's the Aetna plan is the exact same plan.
Okay, all right. And just for grins, have we looked anywhere else?
Yes, so I did actually look at another vendor, which is UBC, and that's with Regional 12. And when I actually submitted our information to them, one of the things they told us is because of our claims data, they did not recommend us moving to a plan with them.
Okay. And they were not interested in us?
Yes.
Okay. If we opt out of TRS now, how long do we have to stay out?
5 years.
So either way, tonight we're making a 5-year decision.
Yes.
what is our contract going to be with T and all the other letters? Is it going to be a 5-year contract, or if we don't get what we expect, can we move someplace else?
Yes, so it's a year contract, year by year.
So it's year by year with
Yes.
them. Okay. But we'll be in the competitive market for 5 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to
jump right in.
I think that you were asking questions that kind of were showing how this TSHBP Aetna signature plan is very similar. I don't understand how there's a savings when the premiums are slightly higher on the Aetna side.
So on the difference between, it's a mirror image between the two. So on the TRS plan, there's a primary plan and there's a primary plus. So the bottom plan, which is the Aetna signature plan, is right in the middle of those two plans, instead of offering two separate PPO or limited plans, which is what TRS has. They have the primary and the primary plus that are exactly the same, but the deductibles are different, but you still have to have the specialists have to have referrals, and you have to have a PCP on file.
Okay, so what I'm seeing on your graph here is that half of the people that were with TRS jumped ship as soon as we gave them the opportunity.
Yes.
And then the other half that stayed there would have a comparable plan offered by Aetna.
Yes, ma'am.
If the 6% rate, and I'm just looking at employee only, for the 6% above what they're paying this year will be $574.52. So that's a $50 savings, $54 savings.
Yes.
Per month.
Per month.
These are per month numbers, right?
Yes, sir.
So there is a savings there. Prescription coverage is comparable, same kind of companies, either CVS or MAD, whoever.
It'll be through CVS, and it'll be the same level of coverage with TRS.
Okay.
Caremark available?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So, if you had to choose insurance for yourself tonight, what would you pick? What are you going to sign up for right now?
So, right. Well, and just
it's either you or Eloy.
Yes. So, so I will tell you that when we offered the alternative medical plan, I was one of the first ones to sign up for the copay plan.
But you're young and healthy.
Well, but I also have a lot of kids on the plan, and those,
cool.
So looking at the options and the things that were available, it did provide the level of flexibility. And one of the things that also provides us that TRS doesn't provide us is we're able to actually see what we're doing as a district with our wellness clinic, our fitness center, and how that's actually related to our claims, and being able to get that data back to see how, if we're being productive, if we're being helpful, and what we're doing for the health of our organization.
Awesome. So they consider that?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Thomas, did you have something to add? Okay. Just making sure. Ms. Myers, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
I appreciate all your input.
Thank you.
Just as one point of clarification, we do not opt out tonight. We're with TRS for 5 years. We do opt out. You can negotiate anything. You could have 5 and 5 years if you wanted to, if you were not satisfied. Not that we ever would do that, but you have the ability to negotiate, basically.
Yes. And if we choose not to opt out of TRS, we will have the option to opt out, I believe, on a yearly basis, but we will not be able to offer the alternative medical.
Right.
So that 1,000 employees that moved over to alternative medical plan, they would now have to go back to TRS for next school year.
Well, that brings us to the question I wasn't going to ask.
So we know where Miss Noemi Garcia is.
Yeah. So what happened? Dallas is still wearing masks, and not much is happening to them. So what happens if we do stay with TRS and keep our plan? What are they going to do?
So the information that I received,
switch?
Right. So the information that I received is that they may kick you off the plan, but we don't know how serious they are about that.
I don't want to be the one to find out.
Right.
But that is in the discussion, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Because if it's one of those unmandated mandates, Are we spinning our wheels? You've kind of alluded that as a district we have issues with TRS active care.
Well, and some
such as what?
Well, some of it is more so of being able to get our information and get our data to see how we're doing as an organization. And some of the things that we put into place for our wellness program along with our employees.
So their reporting back to us is insufficient.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thanks. So any other questions? All right, then I would entertain or seek a motion concerning the recommendation to...
I'll make a motion to opt out of TRS active care. ASAP.
I have a motion from Mrs. Woods and a second from Mrs. Barat-Timms to approve action item 8A. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, please. Seeing 4, 4, and 3 absent, the motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Myers. And off the record, as a person who's been here for a long, long time, please don't change insurance every year, because we've done that in the past, and it's not fun. Now we have the consent agenda. Dr. O'Brien.
Yes, the administration brings before the board this evening consent agenda. A consideration of consent agenda item 8B, 1, district and campus improvement plans as presented. 2, third option to extend CSP to provide the district with awards, trophies, plaques, and related items. Number 3, third option to extend CSP for athletic supplies, equipment, sporting goods, and related items. Item 4, budget amendments as presented. Administration would recommend approval of these consent agenda items at this time.
Any questions or items to pull for further discussion? You've all read all the DOIs and CMPs for item 1, CIPs, right? All of Ms. Woods, I know, read all of them. Okay, no, it's crickets chirping. All right, then I would entertain a motion to approve consideration of consent agenda items 1 through 4.
I'll move to approve. I'll second her motion.
A motion from Mrs. Guy and a second from Ms. Woods to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Seeing 4, 4, and 3 absent, the motion passes. Future board agenda items, trainings, meetings, etc. Everybody should have gotten a board report asking you to respond to Ms. Garcia about the winter governance camp in March. So make sure you check that out and get back with her on that. I went to a legal update in South Padre Island during a cold front when it rained, so we stayed in the hotel and got trained and ate a lot of good seafood. And that information, it was really a very good presentation on, especially on what the legislators did during the special sessions that affect us. And it's going to be available on the TASB site, I think, starting this week. And then, Dr. O'Brien, are we looking at December 15th for a special meeting? Or I need you to...
Yes. We have 2 313 agreements that have been...
2 or 3?
2.
2, okay.
That are still working out the details and would like to get those closed before the end of the year. The 15th afternoon is an open time for administration, but we would consider any other calendar days good for you. The good news about that meeting is it does require a quorum, but not all 7 members.
Right. Okay. I'm proposing December 15th for that special meeting to consider for the sole purpose, are you listening?
Yes.
The sole purpose of considering 313 agreements, meeting at 6 o'clock. I would listen to comments or alternative dates.
Is that time good with the company? And then it would just be up to the board if that's a convenient time for you or earlier in the afternoon is good.
I'm good.
Okay. All right. I've got a quorum. Put everybody write it down. Ms. Woods in ink. You're awesome. All right. So, everyone in the room who needs to know, December 15th, 6 p.m. right here, Cavestro and somebody Steele. Borisan. 313s. Okay. Any other meetings or trainings? We do have a special not meeting on the 16th at the O'Briens for our Christmas party, and I've already done my Christmas shopping. I hope you have. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Choose a student. That's in Miss Ashley sent an email with an invitation and a list of students that we're going to shop for, and make sure you have that, or let me know and I can forward it to you again, and I sure will. All right. Anything else? All right. I have to find my script that you all have memorized and I don't. All right, and let's make it big enough to read. All right, the board will now recess into closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code sections 551.071, 072, 073, 074, 075, 076, 082, 083, 084, 087. No action will be taken while the board is in closed meeting, and the time is 8:17. The time is 9:32 p.m. No decisions were made while the board was in closed session. We will reconvene. Action item 8F, consideration of personnel. Dr. O'Brien.
Administration at this time would recommend to the board to accept elections as well as resignation and retirements as presented.
I'll move to approve.
Have a motion from Mrs. Guy and a second from Mrs. Barat-Timms to approve resignations, retirements, and elections. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Seeing 4 and 3 absent, the motion passes.
Administration brings before the board for recommendation as an instructional specialist, special education K-12, Rebecca Schrader.
I'll second.
Have a motion from Mrs. Woods and a second from Mrs. Guy to approve the instructional specialist, special ed K-12. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Seeing 4 and 3 absent, the motion carries.
The next instructional specialist, special education K-12, is Sheila Cabrera.
Is that another one under A? Are we doing 2 of those?
Well, we have
the bilingual. We have 2 K-12s. 2 K-12s? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we have a second under
I'll move
3A.
to approve.
Okay.
Second.
A motion from Mrs. Guy and a second from Mrs. Barat-Timms to approve the second special education K-12 specialist. Any discussion? All in favor, raise hand. Seeing 4 and 3 absent, the motion passes.
And the final instructional specialist for the evening is bilingual ESL secondary, Susana Flores.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion for Mrs. Barat-Timms and a second from Ms. Woods to approve 3B. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Seeing 4 and 0 against, 3 absent, the motion passes. Item 9, consideration of authorization to solicit sealed bids for the purchase of surplus property.
Administration recommends at this time that the board would identify it as surplus as well as provide an opportunity for a venue for solicitation of bids.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Ms. Woods and a second from Mrs. Guy to approve the solicitation of sealed bids for surplus property. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Seeing 4 for and 3 absent, the motion passes. Anybody want to move to adjourn? I move to adjourn. There's a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Ms. Woods to adjourn. Any objections? All right, good night, 9:35. Too late.
The hammer has fallen.
The hammer has fallen.
Thank our audience members for staying to the